The Hollywood Reporter just published a huge investigation think piece into what is going on with the James Bond franchise now that creative control has been surrendered to supervillain Jeff Bezos over at Amazon Studios. Barbara Broccoli and also Michael Wilson have given up creative control officially, and they're going to be letting Amazon ruin everything, at least according to the rumors.
Look, for $1 billion, I'm giving up too and taking the $1 billion. Like, anybody who says they wouldn't is a lying sack of shit.
Licensed to shill inside Amazon's 007 takeover. It's the Bond movie's most shocking plot twist in decades. But will the tech giant's surprise buyout of the franchise prove deadly? Or could it breathe new life into cinema's most famous spy?
The thing is, guys, is you know exactly what a corporation is going to do when they get their hands on this. They're not going to do anything with the initial property. They're thinking IP. What spin-offs can we immediately get into doing? So I imagine what they did, they're like, could somebody make a supercut of every Bond movie but all the scenes without James Bond in it so I can see which characters I can exploit for our company?
Well, that's all but confirmed here. They
Yes.
ask about the acquisition to Amazon. What could have compelled them to do it after so many years of fiercely protecting their father's business? And to Amazon, no less, the sprawling global syndicate run by the bald-headed, rocket-building billionaire Ernst Stavros Bezos. It makes even less sense than the plot of No Time to Die. And here they list off a few spitballing ideas for what Amazon could do with their new creative control. Build it into a Marvel-style universe filled with bingeable TV spin-offs. This includes a TV show about Moneypenny. Why not? A prequel about Blofeld's teenage years. Sure. 007 game shows. Anything is possible now that Amazon is free to milk the franchise dry.
So these are my suggestions. This is what I think that they're probably looking to do. So what we're going to get, they're going to make a because if you don't know who Moneypenny is the secretary at MI6. So I think we're going to get The Office,
Jenna
MI6
Fisher?
edition. And instead of Jim and Pam, we're getting James and Penny.
Oh, I see. A workplace romance.
A workplace romance.
A slow burn.
Yeah, and then, or we could do M, the younger years, which that'll be like a political thriller as M rises to power at MI6, kind of like what they were going to do with the Amanda Waller political thriller show over at HBO.
Even that was
over
an awful
at, yeah.
idea. We have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. I've had a couple of sources tell me that previous Bond director Sam Mendes was approached by Amazon to be the new Broccoli. After he found out what their overall plans were, he said, no.
We're going to get a Q show. Imagine like Eureka or Chuck, where he's in charge of a lab of quirky people developing gadgets for James Bond. And it'll be, look, just think it like, and here's what they're thinking right now. Think of how cheap it can be. It's just a bunch of sets. We don't have to go film overseas. It's barely any green screen. We just build a couple of sets and put a bunch of quirky actors in there to do it.
They listed off some more of Amazon's ideas, saying sources close to the franchise say Amazon approached the Broccolis with pitches for a TV series based on Moneypenny. They also were looking at a show about Bond CIA buddy Felix Leiter, and maybe even something involving a female 007.
Maybe what they'll do
Predictably,
with...
Broccoli and Wilson were not interested.
Do you guys remember Jack Wade? He was in like the Brosnan Bonds. He was an American who helped him in GoldenEye. And then another ones. They're going to make a buddy cop with Felix and Jack, where they go on crazy adventures and quip each other back and forth. And you're going to want to die by the time you're done watching it. I just want to remind you guys that they tried to do this with Citadel. They made Citadel. They made Citadel Diana. And then they made, I'm not kidding you, Citadel Honey Bunny. No clue what that one's about. Because nobody on planet Earth, other than bots, actually watched Citadel.
I mean,
I tried.
Are they just like fishing for Emmys or something?
No, they're
Like,
spy slop. So
I
it's
don't
it's
understand.
this is how bad it is too. That's my genre. Like I can
slop.
pretty much put any spy slop on in the background. I watched 2 episodes of Citadel and I'm like, please, and I was throwing my TV out a window. So Amazon, look, like I said before, Amazon has an above average track record when it comes to stuff that people don't care about outside of old dudes. Like the dad TV stuff, they do fine because they seem to leave it alone and just let the showrunner create something. So Jack Ryan went 6 seasons? A bunch of seasons. Jack Ryan with John Krasinski went a bunch of seasons. Reacher did very, very well. The Terminalist was good. But again, as big as Jack Ryan is as a character, he's a character for dudes. But they're not going to look at James Bond as something as just for dudes. They're going to look at it as the cultural icon that it is, which means it needs to be raped and pillaged.
And it needs to have mass appeal.
It has to have mass appeal, which here's the problem. It already has that. Like
Right.
James Bond as a formula already has that. The men want to be him. The women want to be with him. You have to do literally none of this. And the other problem with spin-offs, guys, is back in the day, just follow me here, back in the day when they did spin-offs, there had to be a performance that precluded its announcement that made the spinoff make sense. So Buffy the Vampire Slayer comes out, and Angel, David Boreanaz, does an exceptional job in the role, which warrants a spinoff. Okay, Breaking Bad comes out. Bob Odenkirk does an exceptional job as Saul Goodman, which warrants a spinoff. You could even say Frasier, Kelsey Grammer as Frasier from Cheers, warrants a spinoff. Here's the problem, guys. There had to be something that came first.
Yeah.
So if you want to do this, what I would, the other example I would give is Torchwood. Captain Jack from Torchwood. Okay.
Thank you.
Make.
You were saying?
Okay. Hardy. Make 3 good James Bond movies in a row. New actors, new characters, and if in there somewhere one character manages to stand out without you pushing the character too hard, meaning like we're picturing a spin-off, so we're going to give extra screen time to this person that people don't normally care about. People don't care about Moneypenny unless it's in the context of James Bond. People don't care about Felix Leiter unless it's in the context of James Bond. Outside of the context of actual James Bond interacting with them, it could be generic spy office slop that could be renamed Spy Show Number 2. And maybe people watch it, maybe people don't. Unless you're going to feature James Bond prominently in all of these shows, there's no reason to give them their own spin-offs. And there's no reason to give them their own spin-offs because you should be saving James Bond for James Bond movies.
We have a 20 from Cesario JPN. Japan already did a female James Bond. It's called 0091. It's I believe you mean good series, but it's an anime, so not everyone's tastes. Don't watch the live action movie. Yeah, it's just a bad idea all around to try a female gender swap James Bond, because it's like imagining what any character would be like gender swapped. It's anathema. The character is the character because of who they are, and that has everything to do with either being masculine or feminine.
Yes. I do, however, I gave it some thought. I do support the idea if they wanted to make a one-off to get started. Like they're too terrified to launch into a new Bond franchise to begin with because they know their creative teams are ass and their executives are ass and none of them are any good at picking shit. Fine. Do the old man James Bond movie with Pierce Brosnan first. Bring back Martin Campbell to direct it. Okay? I don't know what you do about M because Judi Dench is no longer with us. But do the old man James Bond movie, make it more visceral and brutal, and go with that. Certainly, with all of the stuff that Pierce Brosnan is still doing, he still looks good for his age. Still looks plenty good for his age. You could do that. And don't do it as a TV show. Do it as a movie.
Well, they mentioned that Christopher Nolan was interested in directing a James Bond movie, possibly, but that Barbara Broccoli wasn't interested back, and then he kind of just effed off. But they noted here, after all, if Nolan's film about an atomic bomb could make $1 billion, imagine what Nolan's Bond movie could do.
Yeah.
And also, they mentioned, while we're on the subject, this is ridiculous, is that Moneypenny spinoff really such a dumb idea? Look at what Max did with the penguin.
No. Okay. That is the most intellectually dishonest. Do you know what else Max did? Does anybody on planet Earth remember Pennyworth? The Batman spinoff about his butler? That 5 people on planet Earth watched?
No, I actually don't.
Okay. Well, a Moneypenny spinoff is far more akin to an Alfred Pennyworth spinoff than it is to a Penguin spinoff. If you want to make one about a standout bad guy, that's the other thing. That spinoff, they're proving my point here. The reason the Penguin got greenlit was because everybody who watched The Batman spoke highly about Colin Farrell's portrayal of the Penguin in the movie, which warrants a spinoff.
If it had been Colin Farrell in the spinoff.
Wait, it wasn't? What? Am I
You mean a movie?
Yeah. Well,
they didn't decide to do a movie. Is the problem.
But I'm saying, they gave him a spinoff. It was just a show.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why that was made was because everyone loved his portrayal of the Penguin in the movie, so they made a show about it. There is nothing left of James Bond to do that with because the franchise is effed off because it finished in 2021 and Daniel Craig is done. Nobody cares about any of those side characters. Nobody cares. Was it Naomi Harris who plays Moneypenny? She was fine, but it's not like she gave a Colin Farrell as the Penguin-like performance of that. I can't actually, and I guess the idea is like you want to do the Felix Leiter spinoff based on that one too because of what's his name from that? Oddly enough, he was in Batman as well. He plays James Gordon. No. There's not enough there to justify it, like there was with the Penguin.
I just don't understand, aside from fatigue, why Broccoli would walk away.
$1 billion. You don't walk away from $1 billion.
They were adamant for decades that they would never let go.
Okay, let me rephrase. Yeah, but
they said you can pry this out of our cold dead fingers.
Yeah, but that was when they were working with MGM where they had the majority of the control. So now they're like, here's door number 1, $1 billion. Door number 2, we obstruct you at every path. We fit you with thousands of bad ideas that we have to then argue about. You are doomed to a life of board meetings with either flat or sparkling water. And she's like,
gonna act like you were drinking sparkling water before you came out here.
and she's like, fuck it, give me the $1 billion. I'm out of here. You're on your own, America. You're on your own, world.
They even quote Albert Broccoli saying, "Don't let anybody else screw this up. You can screw it up if you want to, but don't let other people screw it up." And now she's literally letting other people screw it up.
Actually, that would be really funny. She's like, if anyone's going to fuck this up, it's me.
She's going to get haunted by her father's ghost after this.
Yeah, it's, her dad's going to be like, how dare you?
Yeah.
And that's crazy. She's
been
working on the Bond franchise since she was 17 years old because it's a birthright for her. And she's just like, look, I'm old. I need a hip replacement. I'll take the $1 billion.
Wilson retired before she walked away, and I assume that has a lot to do with the decision as well. They also noted in this piece, once it was revealed that Barbara Broccoli called the Amazon executives, to a friend, effing idiots, Jeff Bezos saw that headline in the Wall Street Journal and said, "I don't care what it costs. Get rid of her."
I mean,
he had it out for her.
That's honestly hilarious, and I'm kind of on board with it.
And you know, they were probably pitching all of these just awful ideas to her just to drive her away.
Honestly,
like just to make her think it was hopeless.
That's a really, really smart business idea.
Yeah, I think that's what they were doing.
They're like, oh, a Moneypenny show, and we'll make one about Q. And she's like, get me out of here.
I don't actually think that was the case. I think they are legitimately that stupid. I just don't know how you can see what happened to Rings of Power and let the same thing happen to your family story.
Yep. And one of the reasons people complained about that is they based it on a very small, obscure bit of text and turned it into a whole show with no source material. I don't want to know what modern Hollywood writers have to say about Moneypenny or M without Ian Fleming's actual words to guide them. I don't. So
let's read some super
no, but it
chats.
is funny to point out that they talk in the article about how they used to have to throw MGM a bone, like casting Denise Richards as a nuclear physicist in a Bond movie, which became literally an inside joke within the industry. Right? And that is The World Is Not Enough is an underrated Bond movie, but it gets kind of boiled down and turned into like a meme because of that casting.
That brings me to our off-air debate about who could be a Bond girl in 2026.
I have no idea. I know who they're going to cast. Zendaya!
Oh my gosh. I mean...
And Pedro Pascal is going to be Bond.
Maybe. But, no, I mean... They had this big Bond tribute performance at the Oscars because they decided to curate that before they found out Barbara Broccoli walked away. She was actually in the audience watching it, and they panned to her awkwardly. But during that tribute performance, you see Margaret Qualley is playing the Bond girl, dancing with all of these tuxedoed male backup dancers. And she has a very... cool.
She's American, right?
Energy. Like, I like her.
She's American.
She is American, yeah.
I mean,
there have been American Bond girls,
yeah,
right?
but most of them are not.
Yeah.
Most of them are European. I wouldn't be surprised.
You disagree that she could do it, so
I do.
I just wonder who could.
I wouldn't be surprised. Don't even think for a second that it's outside the realm of possibility that they try to get Halle Berry back to do that Jinx spinoff they tried to do in like 2001.
Let me see.
Anything for content. The name's content.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Content.
Anya Taylor-Joy. British, isn't she? No, she's Argentinian.
She'd be a great...
Or maybe she's
She
both.
has too unique of a face. She'd be a great villain.
I think she's both. She's British, American.
She could be a villain.
Well, who else? I haven't heard of any of these people. Amelia Clark.
She's too old now. Right?
Natalie Dormer.
Natalie Dormer, I'm surprised wasn't, if I'm being honest. But even then...
Claire Foy? No. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of promising prospects here.
I don't know who it would be. But I do know that they'll probably end up having...
FKA Twigs.
No.
She's British.
It's just good. You know what it is? You know what's happening right now? What we're doing right now is exactly what the executives do. They look at the list. Mary, they look at the list. They go, fuck it, Zendaya. And then they're just lazy. Like, it's not because she's super good. They're just like, I don't fucking know. Zendaya. And then they just go on to the... Like, who should we cast as James Bond? They give him 30,000 ideas. Like, that. Pedro Pascal.
It's true, yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.